Kevin Ellison. Here's a look at what's going on this week in the news. We begin with news from around the country. U.S. bishops and other groups around the country are calling for peace after a chaos and hate-filled weekend in Virginia that left 3 people dead and several other injured. Problems began when white nationalists and counter-protesters confronted each other on the campus of the University of Virginia in response to plans to remove a statue of Confederate General Robert E. Lee. At some point during the clashes between the two groups, a man identified by several news agencies as James Fields allegedly rammed his car into the crowd of counter-protesters, killing a 32-year-old woman and injuring several others. 2 state police officers were also killed when a helicopter they were in crashed on their way to help with the violence on the ground. President Trump, in a statement on Monday, said racism is evil and those who cause violence in its name are criminals and thugs, including the KKK, neo-Nazis, white supremacists, and other hate groups that are repugnant to everything we hold dear as Americans. On August 13th, the president of the U.S. Bishops' Conference, Cardinal Daniel DiNardo, along with Bishop Frank Duane of Venice, Florida, chairman of the USCCB Committee on Domestic Justice and Human Development, issued a statement saying the bishops stand against the evil of racism, white supremacy, and neo-Nazism, and they stand with their sisters and brothers united in the sacrifice of Jesus, by which love's victory over every form of evil is assured. In news now from the Vatican, Pope Francis has a busy travel schedule ahead of him. The most immediate trip takes place in September to Colombia, but at the beginning of next year, the Pope will be traveling back to Latin America for a trip to Chile and Peru. Rome Reports has more on what we can expect when the Pope visits Chile in January.
Pope Francis has nearly packed his bags for his next trip to Colombia from September 6th through the 11th, but preparations for his January trip to Peru and Chile are also going well. A few days ago, Pope Francis sent this video message to Peruvians, which said he wanted to visit them. New details of the Pope's future time in Chile are now known. While the Vatican has not yet published the official agenda, the Archbishop of Santiago de Chile has revealed some locations and activities Pope Francis will participate in. The Pope will hold 3 masses in 3 places with sufficient capacity to accommodate thousands of pilgrims. On Tuesday, January 16th, the Mass will be in Santiago de Chile in O'Higgins Park, which is almost 200 acres. On Wednesday, January 17th, he will celebrate the Eucharist in Temuco at an aerodrome. And on Thursday, January 18th, he will say Mass in Lobido Beach in the city of Iquique. Pope Francis could also visit the Cathedral of Santiago de Chile, the sanctuary of Father Alberto Hurtado, the patron of Chilean workers, a prison, and the Pontifical Catholic University of Chile. Pope Francis will travel to Chile and Peru from January 15th through the 21st, 2018.
In news from around the world, Sister Ruth Katharina Martha Pfau, a German-born member of the Daughters of the Heart of Mary who devoted her life to eradicating leprosy in Pakistan, has died at the age of 87. Known as the Mother Teresa of Pakistan, Sister Ruth founded the Maria Adelaide Leprosy Center in Karachi in 1962. It was Pakistan's first hospital dedicated to treating Hansen's disease and later set up branches in all provinces of Pakistan. She spent the rest of her life in the country and was granted Pakistani citizenship. In 1996, the World Health Organization declared Pakistan one of the first countries in Asia to be free of Hansen's disease. The Pakistani Bishops' National Commission for Justice and Peace called Sister Ruth a national hero of Pakistan. It said her services for humanity were nothing less than a pure manifestation of God's divine love. The government of Pakistan is according her a state funeral on August 19th at St. Patrick's Cathedral in Karachi. More news from the Vatican. Well, if you have ever wanted to travel to Rome, to the Vatican, but didn't have the resources to make the trip, the Vatican is now making it easier to experience all that it has to offer without even having to get on a plane. All you need is a computer. Rome Reports explains.
Those who have not seen the Vatican surely are not waiting for lack of desire. There are no more excuses now. The website vaticanstate.va makes it possible to tour different corners of the Vatican from any screen. From these webcams, you can see a live panoramic view of St. Peter's Square, enter the tomb of John Paul II, look out to Rome from the heights of the famous dome of St. Peter's Basilica, and also the Palace of the Governorate inside the Vatican. Each place is only a single click away. However, it's not only limited to the Vatican territories of the Eternal City. It's also possible to go to the gardens at Castel Gandolfo, which is more than 26 miles away. This residence was the summer resort of dozens of popes, and now is a museum. Now that Rome's intense heat has become too difficult to handle, this is a perfect alternative to enter the smallest state in the world without having to suffer from the high temperatures.
And finally in news, Greg Dougherty is rowing his 18-foot-long canoe 1,400 nautical miles from Miami to New York to draw attention to the Marian apparitions at Fatima. He began his pilgrimage on June 13th, and as of August 14th, he was 10 miles south of Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Dougherty is former president of Our Lady's Blue Army World Apostolate of Fatima, USA, in the Diocese of Covington, Kentucky. The lay group's purpose is to promote the message of Fatima and to encourage the faithful to pray the rosary every day as Mary requested. In an interview with Southern Cross, the newspaper of the Diocese of Savannah, Dougherty said what's encouraged him on this trip is the curiosity of non-Catholics who often ask him what Fatima is. He said the majority of hearts have been open to the message of Fatima. Dougherty is hoping to arrive in New York by late September or early October. Well, that is all the information we have for you this time. I'm Kevin Nelson. Don't forget, you can keep up to date on Catholic news throughout the week with Catholic Newsbreak right here on the Catholic TV network.